What's up, locals? It's Mike and Kenzie coming to you live from the 775. Your support is what makes this podcast possible, so please don't forget to follow wherever you watch or listen. Now let's get into it.
Well, Mollman, thank you for joining us. I wanted to have you on here, number one, because I think you're very funny.
Thank you.
And number two, you are absolutely critical to the Reno comedy scene.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like,
I appreciate that,
You,
yeah.
you make up what is the normalcy of Reno comedy. We need mics, we need people, and you run a very tight ship. You're very consistent, and you open up the creative space, and you're funny as fuck.
Oh, thanks, man. Man, that's really sweet. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I think I'm that way, but I never actually hear that from anyone else other than my own head. But I also hear a lot of things from my own head, like fucking chop off your dick or whatever. I can curse, right? That's fine?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
100%.
Yeah. Good, because I was like, oh,
Fuck.
I'm gonna have to censor myself a lot. No, but thank you. Yeah, I do my best. I try really hard to have a professional setup and make sure everyone's taken care of. And ultimately, especially when it comes to like producing a show or whether it be an open mic or an actual showcase, it's all about the audience, number one, and I think a lot of people forget that because it's a show. People want to see a good show.
Yeah.
If you're not wanting to put together a good show, then I'd rather just go home and watch Netflix or something.
Yeah, you'd fuck off some other way, and this is like actually
and I just
amazing.
appreciate any audience member that comes out because you could be doing anything. You could be having a conversation with your mom. You could be loving someone right now, and you're choosing to watch me talk about jerking off into a bowl of soup or whatever I do. And so I'm just happy that you're here. I try to be super appreciative of everyone that comes out and everyone that does comedy as well. Anyone that wants to perform, I'm like, yeah, if you're going up for the first time, just keep doing it if you're having fun.
Yeah.
The only time I discourage other people from doing it is if you're not having fun. If you're not having fun, then do something that will be more fulfilling for you.
Yeah. You're like ruining the vibe of the whole show.
Yeah.
Has that happened before?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, people bomb for sure.
Yeah. Bombing doesn't ruin a vibe.
Yeah.
Bombing doesn't ruin a vibe, but being a creep or something, that ruins a vibe. I had to kick out someone from Coffee and Comics in general because he decided to punch another comedian in the face. And then he didn't show up for 2 weeks. 2 weeks he came back and then the list was full, luckily. But he's like, "Can I just sit and watch?" And I was like, "Okay, you can sit and watch." 5 minutes go by and he proceeds to puke on the floor.
What?
Yeah.
Missed this.
Yeah, he just starts puking on the floor right next to the garbage can. The garbage can is 5 feet from the front door.
And you could feel it coming too, so you could get up and take care of that.
Yeah, but he was just like face down on the bar, just puking on the floor. And he's like, "I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry." And I'm like, Then do something. He could have done anything, even the smallest bit of effort. Go walk 5 feet next to you and grab the garbage can. I was like, "Hey, can you go over towards the garbage can?" He's like, "No, I can't do it." So I had to grab the garbage can for this guy, and I had to bring him a garbage can so he could puke not on the floor.
Okay, wait. Was he hungover? Was he like, or was it for attention?
I think he was currently drunk.
Oh, got it.
I think he got too drunk. He was like, "I'm so fucked up. I'm so fucked up."
It's hard not to name names, isn't it?
Yeah, that
No,
would
it's
know.
so hilarious. I'm trying to not make fun of him because he was clearly having a rough day. But also, dude, if you decide to punch another comedian in the face and then come back and puke on the floor
you're
2 weeks later,
kicked out for life.
yeah, kind of like fuck you a little bit,
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
know?
taking too many L's.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so yeah, I'll kick people out for that.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and if they're like I'm friends with people at Coffee and Comics, right? And friends with the manager. The cool thing about the owners is they always have the baristas back and everything, and they've had to kick people out of that coffee shop just because they're a bad time to be around, or they're creepy towards the baristas and stuff like that. And if safety is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
If you are creating an unsafe environment for anyone, then sorry, everyone is allowed to be in public feeling safe.
Yep.
That's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Coffee and comics is an interesting environment, though. Like, I feel like it is a little bit of like a gamer recluse vibe mixed with people who really like anime and comic books. And
It is a comic
I just
and
feel like
yeah.
certain personalities are attracted to that, which create a
Are you saying there's a bunch of
maybe
dorks
like
there?
not just maybe not like as socially
nerds.
maybe as not like socially aware kind of energy.
Are you saying they're autistic?
Is that what you're
I
insinuating?
mean, I didn't say it. I'm just saying
No,
that's the vibe.
So I'm a regular at that coffee shop. You're totally right. I have a bit. I don't actually do this, but I have a bit to myself where I play a game where I try to guess what mental illness they have whenever someone walks in. It's usually just autism, but every once in a while you get like an old person, like 70 years old or whatever, and they look confused because they're like, "Is this gay or what? Like, what's going?" Yeah. And
Weirdest orgy I've ever been to.
yeah, exactly. Well, no one's fucking at Coffee and Comics.
Right.
Absolutely zero pussy to be had at that coffee shop. No, it's a really cool place. It's like the way I describe Coffee and Comics is like it's a place where antisocial weirdos go to pretend to have social lives. That's
I really like that
That's
description.
very accurate.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of love it.
That's better than
where
what I just said.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
selling
what you said
it.
was like super fucked up.
You're canceled.
I know, seriously.
So, a little bit about you. Tell me, where are you from? What brought you to Reno? What got you into comedy?
Yeah, so I'm from Deadwood, South Dakota, small town, rural South Dakota. It's like it's honestly like it's kind of a weird mix of both Reno and Virginia City because it's a small mountain town, but it's also got big casinos. So it's like
Dakotas have casinos?
Yeah.
Western South Dakota. Also, there's a lot of Native American reservations. So
That's why
okay.
those are
Okay,
and
got it.
alcoholism.
But yeah, if you've ever seen the TV series on HBO called Deadwood,
I have not seen it.
it's very good. It's very
Okay.
good. I've heard. I've never seen it because
It's good. It's good.
I lived it.
Never seen it.
I lived it, so I didn't really need to see it. I don't know. I should probably see it, but yeah. So born and raised there. Stand-up comedy was never on my radar. I just remember watching it, and I was like, "Wow, that's like, man, that's so cool. I could never do that, right?" And then I went to school in Wyoming. Dropped out after 2.5 years, and then I was actually making plans to go down to Texas to move in with my girlfriend at the time, but that didn't happen. And so then I chose Reno because I was living in Wyoming and I didn't have any actual close family where I was at. And I was like, after this breakup, I just need to find some community, even if it's my family.
Yeah.
And better economy, warmer weather. Reno just made sense. So I moved to Reno about 5 years ago. It was like 5 months before the pandemic started. So I got like a taste of what pre-COVID Reno was like.
Oh, interesting.
And then everything shut down, and I drank a lot. Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Everybody did.
so I came to Reno and I started doing comedy because I didn't have any friends. Also, my social skills were honestly, I think if I had more confidence, my social skills would have been pretty decent. But I had absolutely no confidence and no social skills when I first moved to Reno. So I'm like, I have no idea what to do. So I saw an ad because the original host of Coffee and Comics was Bobby Benedict, Also hilarious dude.
Is he still here? Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, big, large Asian man. Super cool
I think
dude.
I met him.
Did you just turn over the mic to you, or how did that work?
Yeah, he eventually turned it over to me. He wasn't planning on turning it over to me, but I think he just got super burnt out because hosting a mic every week.
Oh my gosh, it seems exhausting.
It's a grind, man.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart.
No.
Absolutely. After I've been doing it for a little bit over 2 years now, and I'm starting to feel. I think I've taken 6 weeks off total in 2 years.
Wow.
That's crazy.
But I love it. I
Yeah.
fucking love it. I love doing it. And I just, so I'm like kind of addicted to it. But I'm trying to, pretty soon here, I'm going to start to like take a step back. And I think I want, because it's a good room, right? And I want to like help other comedians get some reps hosting.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of opportunity for comedians to learn how to host, and it's a super important skill to have if you're going to be doing comedy. So I think I'm going to start pretty soon here having a guest host once a month. That'll take some weight off of my back. It'll help spread some of the skills among the community, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you
so I think
still be there?
I'd probably still be there.
Yeah, go
Okay.
up, do a set, and then not be
do a set
responsible for it.
Yeah, and also one of the things I missed about doing comedy at Coffee and Comics was being able to just do 5 minutes and not have to worry about a show because it's a great room.
Yeah, it is a
but if
great
you're
room.
hosting, it's hard to just like focus on just your comedy for a while, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause you're timing everybody, you're just doing all the
Taking
socials.
pictures. It's hosting's heavy lifting, especially if it's like a rough night.
Yeah.
Dude, if it's a rough night and you're hosting,
Fuck.
you like your whole job is to like give every comedian the opportunity to like do well and lift up everyone's spirit, and ultimately comedy is like we're all having a good time, right? But when you're not having a good time and you're
You're
like
not having a
hosting
good time.
and you're like we're having fun, guys, and you're just eating shit over and over every 5 minutes after 16 comedians.
Yeah.
There's been a few times where after like I was tired, I had a horrible hosting set. It was just a crowd full of comedians, no audience members. There was a few times where I had to legit hold back tears because I'm like, fucking.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're the
Absolutely.
palate cleanser too, because if somebody's bombing, you're like, you want to give a fresh start to whoever's on next. So it's like, how do we get the energy back into the room?
Yeah, and sometimes you're like, I have no idea how to get the energy back in the room. I'm at a lot.
gosh.
And the best way with that is to just give up.
Okay, so
Just give up. Just be like, all right, we're just bringing up the next comedian. Fuck it. He's
Yeah.
going to suck, but you're going to be here.
What I love is like also you'll power through some of the most uncomfortable things and address them where you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
You have
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Not always. Sometimes. This is something that you learn the more you do, where you like learn how to read the room. Sometimes it's better to just pretend it didn't happen because some people don't want to be reminded. But other times it's like, that was like really weird, huh, guys? That was really weird.
Yeah.
When you said the N-word on stage, that was weird, right, fellas? Wow. So yeah, hosting's really difficult. It's important to learn how to do that.
yeah, I feel like because I've been an audience member for a few of these open mics, and I feel like I feel the comedian's emotions just as an audience member.
Oh,
and so when
people
you
are
said
telepathic. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, like I feel like when you're saying that you almost like got to tears, I almost feel like I got to tears a couple times for you when you're bombing.
when I'm nuking.
Yes, and I'm like,
Terrible.
it is such an emotional experience, but to see you guys like power through and just keep your confidence, keep your composure, that's a skill set that not a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Because you're literally like, people are like, I fucking hate you. Like, get off the stage. I don't want to hear your voice anymore. And you're like, and I have to stay up here because I need more stage time. Like, it's selfish, but yeah, I don't know. It's such a...
It's not always selfish. Like especially if it's like a booked showcase and crowds came to see you and they paid money to see you, it would be selfish for you to not try and put on the best show. You know what I mean? Because the whole thing of entertainment is just like, this is going to be the best show ever.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point. If it's not the best show, then then what are you even doing?
Right.
And I know that's like an impossible standard, but the whole point is that this is a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And so, but humans, very fragile people, and when you're doing stand-up, you're by yourself. So if you're eating shit, everyone's just like, wish I could help them.
Yep.
Sometimes you wish you could help them, and then sometimes it's like, no, actually kind of fuck this comedian a little bit because they dug their own hole.
Yeah. Like let them die in it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also a magic to the dismount that I've noticed. People getting off stage, because if you're bombing and you just eat a bag of dicks and you're like, all right, that's my time, bye. And then there's some people who are like, well, that was terrible. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
And then they get off and it kind of like almost washes away whatever they did, where the room isn't like totally against them anymore.
Yeah, because what helps, at least, especially if once your set is over, it helps like sometimes to like, my bad, everyone. Oops.
Trying something.
Like that was on me.
Yep, you know what? You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
And then at least that like helps cleanse it or whatever, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
I kind of want like, because our listeners, I feel like some of them might not know like the difference between an open mic and a set. So can you like maybe explain the difference? Because I think some people that have shown up to open mics, they're expecting this is going to be a show. This is going to be like good. And then when people are bombing, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Right. So
Happens at shows sometimes.
Which also happens at shows.
it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even at the Comedy Store, I've seen comedians bomb on the main stage.
Right.
It happens.
Part of the art form.
Yeah, absolutely, because every crowd's different and it's rough. But to answer your question, open mics, that's essentially practice. It's essentially practice for comedians. Open mics, ideally, are just a place where a comedian can sign up, do, in most cases, 5 minutes, but in like bigger cities like Sacramento or in San Francisco, sometimes you only get 3 minutes of stage time for an open mic. But whether it's someone going up on stage for the first time or even a veteran going up and just testing out material they're practicing with, they just go up and it's kind of like practice. It's kind of like instead of going to an NFL game, you just go and watch their practice. Yeah, exactly.
Balls get dropped.
Balls get dropped, women get hit. You know, classic NFL stuff. And so then like a showcase is one where it's like a booked show. The comedians are supposed to be professional comedians, or at least they're supposed to be paid. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's not the case. But it's more of an actual show. So it's like when, again, it's like as if you're going to an actual game. You're going to see comedians doing ideally their best material, mm-hmm. and you're going to see an actual show. Not that open mics are actual shows, but it's a little bit more professional.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between like a showcase and an open mic.
And an open mic. Yeah. I think that's like really good for people to know, especially if they are getting into the comedy scene or if they're like going on a date and they're like, oh, like there's comedy happening tonight.
That's the worst.
Like, I think that there's just always good to know some logistics here.
Dude, it fucking kills me whenever people take like a first date, and even comedians do this, but they take a first date to an open mic. I'm like, dude, no.
That's the
There's
last
like
place.
a 5% chance they're going to understand. And maybe there's something to be said where like if they're going with this intention of like bringing their date, it's like I'm going to use this as like a filter so that like if they're not going to be able to stand an open mic, then they're not going to get me at all. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to just like have a good time with someone and then maybe introduce them to the most debaucherous thing ever in Reno, Nevada,
right?
Maybe make it like once you're actually a couple thing.
Yeah.
Because there's been so many dates that I've seen just walk out halfway through because there's a guy fumbling like, so pedophilia is like kind of wacky, right? Because kids are getting laid more than me. And it's like, well, maybe.
Yikes.
Yeah, yikes indeed.
Yeah.
So then, you know, if people leave during a first date at an open mic, honestly, totally get it.
Yeah,
totally get it.
100%, like
'cause
walking
it's
out.
Jarring.
Yeah.
It's open mics in Reno, Nevada. It's the bottom of the barrel, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I love them. I love them, but
The worst
they're
place to
just-
go. If you
yeah.
just hate, if
There's
you want to make a worse first date.
there's nothing romantic
Yeah.
about hearing a guy try to talk about poop for 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Talking about the time he got fingered.
That's
yeah.
so true.
And like looking at the date and going, have you done that before?
Yeah.
And you should. And like all of a sudden kind of rips them apart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I need to say thank you, by the way, because you got me into comedy.
Oh, really?
You opened the door because
shit.
I saw you do a showcase at Shanty Dolan's, and you were funny as fuck. I walked up to you after, and I was like,
I remember that. Yeah.
how do I do what you're doing? And you,
It was like, here's all the places where you can go and do comedy.
Yeah, you listed it out, added me to the Facebook group, and 1 year later, here we are. It's pretty cool.
Well, hell yeah. Well, I mean, now if you ever make it big, you owe at least 10% of your royalties to me.
Mullen's gonna
I'm
be
your
your
agent
manager.
now.
Scrub that, get it out. But I just want to say thank you. You opened the door.
Oh, well, you're welcome. I just like, whenever anyone's just interested in even trying it out, I'm just like, dude, just go up.
Yeah.
People, because you know how I said earlier about like watching it as a young kid and being like, I could never do that.
Yeah.
I've been doing comedy in Reno for like 4.5 years now. Anyone can do it. I've seen people on crack go up on stage at the library, just bat shit out of their mind. And I'm like, that's not fear. I don't think doing comedy at an open mic is fearless. I think you just have to just be a little bit insane to do it.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit delusional, a little bit insane, and a really big need for attention.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime anyone wants to do comedy, I'm just like, yeah, just try it. And then if you don't like it, then stop. But just try it.
So I want to go back to like you getting into comedy because
Okay.
you thought that you couldn't do it.
Okay.
Who was the comedian that you saw when you were like, I don't think I can do this?
When
When
I was
first were
young,
watching, yeah.
I don't remember. I just remember seeing the image on a TV and seeing like, wait, you mean this guy's just up there just telling jokes and that's it? Like that's the act?
Yeah.
That sounds insane. I could never do that. But what ended up me getting into comedy was when I moved to Reno, I didn't know how to make friends, right?
Yeah.
So I saw an ad for an open mic, and I started going to a couple open mics. The first one was at the Elbow Room, which was in Sparks. At the time, Austin Baca was hosting. And then I went to the library when Vicky Gordon was hosting. And both of those mics gave me a ton of like, oh, wait, you can just be bad. No offense, but you can just be bad and go up and do comedy?
Yeah.
I could do that. I didn't know that was allowed to be bad and
Yeah.
do comedy. Because, like, both of those rooms, I don't love the library anymore because I don't like the owner. But the Elbow Room is a fine establishment as far as I'm concerned. But I just remember seeing that, and I was just like, holy shit, I can do this. Like, I could go up and be bad. That's fine. And so then I went up and actually did stand up for the first time at Coffee and Comics. It was November of 2019. And I was only up on stage for like 2.5 minutes. But I got some laughs and I had a lot of fun, and a couple people, they're like, hey, dude, for your first time, that was actually pretty good. You should like keep doing it. One of those people was actually Sai, which was super cool. So I just kept doing it, and here I am 4 years later, still doing comedy, man. And
Yeah.
I love it.
You're amazing at it. Like, I actually really enjoy your comedy. Like, I get upset when you're not at one of the open mics because I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be rough for me. But like I have to sit through all these comedians that, no, I think actually a lot of the people that go up are great, but I really enjoy the comedy that you do because I feel like you're just so honest, and it feels like,
Or you're a great liar.
or you're a great liar, but it just feels like you're kind of giving us an insight into your brain and in the way that you think.
I'm trying so hard to get people to understand how my brain works.
Yeah, like
That's a lot of it because I felt just so misunderstood, and I just want people to see what it's like to be a gay alcoholic twink, you know. And it's rough out here, man.
especially in Reno.
In Reno, man.
That's like the worst place to be all those things.
Yeah.
Alcoholic.
Absolutely.
It's terrible to be an alcoholic in Reno, but also easy. It's not impossible.
Oh yeah, because you could just any restaurant, any restaurant,
24/7.
24/7 alcohol. Go to two chicks, get a Bloody Mary.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's
We
great
encourage
breakfast.
morning drinking here.
Yeah. I used to too. I used to drink on the job
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
As bartender?
As a bartender, but even when I was doing customer service, especially when I was doing customer service, dude.
Wait, what kind of customer service were you doing?
So my first 2 jobs in Reno, I did customer service for a loan travel company.
Okay.
The second one was for like a third-party real estate company.
So you just had like a flask that you would bring to work and you just start.
So the first one, I was working graveyard. So I would just go in, there was 2 other people, and then I would just have like a water bottle filled with like a whiskey and soda or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But my second job, I started during the pandemic, so I was doing it from home.
Easy.
Oh, super easy to drink and work on the job work, especially because that second job was awful. Dude, I was doing I was doing customer service for a real estate company, and this was back like right at the peak of the pandemic when the real estate market had like 0.5% interest rates. So it just like went up, and so I had to do mandatory overtime. So I was doing like 60 hours a week from home, heavily drinking. So I'm just like, I have to drink. I only lasted there for like 4 months.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds actually really awful for the human psyche to go through.
Yeah.
60 hours work from home, probably not socializing as much, and then drinking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, because also I was really missing stand up.
Well, it's
Because I just started stand up, and then I got derailed by the pandemic.
Yeah.
I know that's really selfish because millions of people died, but
Well,
you know,
not that so. Everybody got fucked. Some
Everyone
people
did.
died.
yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't
But I'm
our
like,
fault.
but I know, your officer. I know that people are dying, but can I just go up and tell some jokes?
Yeah. Or you could be like Bo Burnham and
just make a special.
Yeah, make a special at
about
home.
being inside.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
It was really good. It's I will say it's like, it doesn't feel like a comedy though. It feels like a existential art piece.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I
tragic.
absolutely.
I mean, there's
love
comedic elements, of course.
it. Yeah.
But it's rough. It's a
Mostly
rough watch.
irony.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you like musicals at all?
You know, not really. That
Okay,
is
well
the
then I
least
can-
gay thing about me.
Okay. I love musicals, so watching watching all the stuff that he put together, I was in love with it. Like I still sing it just randomly.
That Funny Feeling is such a good song.
Yeah.
And what's the other one where he says like,
The Instagram.
White Woman's Instagram.
White
That
Woman's
one's good.
Instagram.
Yeah.
That one's good, but there's the one
Very
that
relatable.
Yeah.
Welcome to
You're
the
a
internet.
white woman?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not a very good one, but
No.
I don't know.
Well, what makes you good at being a white woman, Mike?
Actually, I can answer this. I love pumpkin spice. I am a big fan of gossip. My guilty pleasure was reality TV all throughout the 2000s. I grew up watching Maury, which is not a white woman show, but it got me in tune.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some white woman shit.
Yeah. Grew up.
What is a woman?
Excellent question, Kenzie. Let's go to our chief female correspondent.
Yeah.
Maverick, what do you think?
I know, seriously. He's getting
Being
slobber
annoying.
all over.
With your first set, do you remember that feeling that you got?
Oh, yeah. I remember being really nervous, but I did this joke about how I think it was the first joke that I ever wrote, and I'm trying to remember it. But, I was like, I want to gain some weight, and I want to, like, learn how to get some, like, a glute skirt or something. But, like, I don't know how to do it, so I'm just going to, like, put some hams in my pants, which is to, like, make it look like I have a butt. And then I'm like, which is perfect because I've always wanted someone to eat my ass.
Oh, no.
Just the dumbest joke, but the crowd laughed, and I was like,
It worked.
I was like, oh my God, I thought this was stupid, but it was fun. And
But it worked.
Yeah, and I was just, oh my God, it was so great.
Oh
it
my
made me
gosh.
happy. So, yeah, I was just like, oh my God, this is easy. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's not. But like just going up there, I was like, oh, I could just keep doing this. I can make people laugh.
Totally. So like as you've been doing it over the last 4.5 years, do you feel like your comedy has changed?
Oh.
Like your style of comedy has
Yeah.
changed. What was it before? Where is it now?
It's changed a little bit. When I first started, it was a lot of self-deprecation, and I still do a lot of that, but I'm trying to kind of own my shit a little bit more, because especially if I'm doing longer sets, no one wants to listen to a comedian for 30 minutes talk about how much they hate themselves the entire time.
Yeah.
You know,
It becomes
5 minutes, sure. 25 more minutes, people are like, is this guy okay?
Yeah.
You know,
It becomes uncomfortable.
yeah. And now that when I started comedy, I was just an alcoholic, right? And now I talk about being a sober alcoholic. And so I talk about that more. And now I'm also out of the closet. Before then, I wasn't out of the closet.
What?
I've only been outwardly bisexual for about 3 years.
Really?
Yeah,
did
so
not
I
know
started
that.
comedy being like, yeah, I'm straight, brother. You know, straight as shit.
So did you
I
come
love
out on
chicks.
stage, or how did that happen?
So I kind of like slowly just like dipped my toes into gay. You know,
Yeah.
I started saying like weird things to like cope about it, because like there's this way that you can frame it where it's like, oh, I'm biromantic, but I'm not bisexual. So I started saying, oh, I have crushes on men, but I don't want to fuck them. I don't want to fuck them. I just really love looking at them
Yeah.
and talking to them.
I want to have an emotional relationship.
Yeah. I'm just like, I love you, dude, but don't touch me, please. And then people, turns out, don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And so then I'm just like, oh, well, I guess I'm just bi now. And so then I just started doing jokes about it. And then I didn't directly come out on stage, but I just started telling people that. Because I don't think I didn't want to come out and make it a big deal, because it's not a big deal.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it shouldn't be. I think your sexuality is something that should be like an afterthought in people's minds. It should be like, also I'm a lot more than that. I'm more than just a bisexual
100%.
man.
Yeah.
So like if I talk to people at bars or wherever I'm talking, they might find out that I'm bisexual or whatever, but that's only if it comes up, right? Because I'm not like, hello, my name's Steven, I'm bisexual, please don't touch me unless I want you to.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Act accordingly.
Yeah.
With both of you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not your personality. You're a dimensional character.
Yeah. Because like I said, like my comedy's changed a lot, and now I got a lot of things to talk about, like addiction and being gay and scoliosis, my gangly body and stuff like that, and just like how I view the world and stuff. But a lot of times I just want people to like. I feel like a lot of my comedy is like really absurd and insane, and like I'm kind of like this weird gay sexual mess. I feel like, you know, but it's like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a message.
It's intriguing. Like your
Is it?
comedy is intriguing. Yes.
Oh, good.
Like
Good.
I always want to know more.
Good.
Yeah, I remember.
'Cause I want to be interesting.
Yeah.
Also funny.
Oh, totally. No, I think that you are. Like, I think what's been cool for me as an observer just in the past, because you've been doing this since, a year. And I feel like what's been cool for me is to see people over this year kind of develop in their comedy and kind of change up different stories. And I feel like I'm getting to know them from afar.
Yeah.
Because it is different. I feel like everyone is trying to be understood in a way, and everyone's trying
I
to.
think that's ultimately what it is.
Yeah.
Please notice me. Please listen to me.
Yeah. Like,
I think I have something worth saying.
Yeah.
Here's my dick jokes.
Yeah.
totally. But it's like the way that your brain works, like, especially like when you do comedy too, I can tell like the way that you do is very specific. It's the way that your brain operates.
Yeah.
Like the different angles that you come at. I know where you're coming from because I know you. So seeing other people come through different angles at things, you really get to know them as a person. You're like, oh, okay. I see you.
In a way, yeah.
I'm trying to do shock and awe and be very racy, which is unnecessary. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to back down off of that because it started out that way, and I was like, oh, I'm getting laughs, and then I realized, oh, I'm trying to pander to something that doesn't work.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's something that you learn. Yeah. Yeah. Just keep learning. Yeah. Some comedians lie. I lie all the time. I mean, I come off honest because it's how I actually feel about things a lot of times, but also it's also not how I actually feel. It's kind of like the way I differentiate my Mollman, my stage persona from just like me existing is, it's my ego talking. It's not me talking. Does that make sense?
makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
When I'm on stage, I'm telling people what I want to say, and sometimes my intrusive thoughts that I would never just say just
In conversation,
day-to-day
just
life,
regularly,
You know what I mean? Because on stage, I'm a lot more insane. I'm sometimes a lot more confrontational as well. In person, I'm just a dude, you know?
Normal person.
Yeah.
Not super like dicky.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I mean,
Depends on the environment.
Well, hold on there. I mean, I dabble in dick.
You are what
Where is that balance then? Like, I guess I feel like
That's the tough thing.
yeah, because I think what people, coming into the comedy scene, not really knowing a lot about it, I think people can just take things at face value. They're like, oh, he said this, he's racist. He said this, like.
You mean when you watch Brandon Straker?
Well, I mean, yeah, some of the
I
story.
love Brandon's comedy, but people see his comedy and they're like, fuck that guy.
No, seriously, and some people.
doorknob spit cracks me.
Yeah, like I think some people can be, yeah, exactly that. Like, fuck this dude. So where does that balance? Like, how do you find that perfect balance of like, I'm joking, but am I?
Right. Well, there's not a perfect balance. That's just.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. There's no perfect balance because, again, every crowd's different. There's jokes that I've done that work 99% of the time, but there's one crowd that's like, actually, no, I don't like that, you know? Yeah, it's hard. It ultimately comes down to what do you value, or rather, what do you want people to hear from you ultimately? Like what is the message that you're saying? And a lot of times, especially early on, I didn't really have a message that I wanted to send. I was just I'm just desperate for attention a little bit. When I started comedy, the reason why I started was because I didn't know how to meet people. I was just looking to connect in some way. Because like I said about social skills, I was like, the idea of me being by myself in a bar was way more anxiety inducing than going on stage. Because going on stage, I know the objective. I just have to be funny. That's the only thing that matters. If I'm at a bar, what do I just interrupt people that are in a conversation? Do I interrupt some poor girl like being like by herself, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's so much gray area in what my perception was on what you were allowed to do in public. But if I could go up and just tell some jokes, even if it's not funny, I can do that. And so it was just like, I don't know. But now I'm like trying to actually get people to understand like my perspective, because especially there's a lot of misconceptions about gay people and addiction. People are really uneducated about that as well. And I'm not like trying to like educate people, but I'm just trying to. It's all stuff with my own personal experience. That's
An
what it is.
alternative perspective that you're offering. It's
Yeah.
not just the surface level, what you assume.
Yes. It's kind of like the difference of like people like use fiction, like books, TV, whatever. They use those lies, I guess, to tell a truth, to like have a message or whatever. But I'm not going up there and I'm not giving a lecture. Because it's not funny or whatever. The comedy comes first, right? But I want people to fucking get what it's like to be me, I guess, in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And it's not even more than that, but I just want I want people to have a little bit more empathy towards other people that may be addicted or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I'm not trying to make myself sound super noble or whatever. I mean, I kind of am. But, like...
At the end of the day, you're also slinging jokes. Like,
yeah, at the end of the day, like, me making a joke about Pearl Harbor or whatever, the message doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
But
I'm already laughing.
it's like fucking whatever.
Too soon?
Yeah. Well, I've told that... my Pearl Harbor joke, there used to be... an open mic at the VFW for a little bit. Mm-hmm. The first mic, I opened with my Pearl Harbor joke, and I killed.
Really?
Yeah, they loved it. They loved my Pearl Harbor joke. It's fucking great, dude.
Isn't that crazy how a crowd... There's a certain energy, or maybe it's synergy. I don't really know what it is, but I feel like the shows that we've been to, there's some shows where the entire crowd is on the same page and they're like, fuck this comedian. And it's a show. It's not an open mic. It's been a show. And then I've been in other crowds where it's like from the get-go, it's just good energy. Everyone's down to laugh. Everyone's ready to receive comedy, no matter what no matter if it's going to be good or bad. Everyone's just like ready for it. So what is going on there? Like, why is that happening in comedy?
So why are some crowds like good?
Yes, and how can you like make a crowd better? Because I feel like the crowd it's a two-way street with the comedian. Yeah. It's not just the comedian. Like
got to feed off their energy.
Yes.
Stuff like that. So a lot of the crowd just depends on their day. Like sometimes, especially at bar shows, if there's only like 10 people, one person can make a lot bigger of an impact on 10 other people than at an actual comedy club like Laugh Factory where there's like 100 people or something like that. Then it's a little bit more congested, right? But like it's really hard to get a crowd going if they're already. So I did a show and I headlined in Pacifica just a few weeks ago, and we took a picture beforehand, and Maverick, not your dog, but
yes,
comedian Maverick, was trying to like be funny and get a sense of the energy in the room. And while we were taking a picture, Maverick was like, "We're having fun. We look so cool, guys. We look so good. Don't we look like super cool?" And then just absolutely no response. And then one person just went, "No." So immediately the crowd was already kind of like too cool for us. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the rest of the show kind of went like that. And I did what I could with my headlining set, right? I guess how you get a crowd back is try not to get in your feelings, right? And that's really hard because I don't care if you don't like me. I'm going to give the best show possible. And a lot of my material, what I ended up doing is I just kind of told a lot of my stories about going to the strip club and shitting myself on mushrooms, you know, because at the very least, even if they're not like inherently laughing, it's still really interesting and relatable. Yeah. And I did it about as well as you could do in a room where they were like kind of already on edge. Not on edge, but the vibe of the room, it felt like they were too cool to laugh. Does that make sense?
And why are you there?
I think they were enjoying the show, but especially like a lot of super masculine dudes like gym bros, a lot of times they like look and they sit there with their arms crossed and don't laugh the entire show. But and I've seen them while I've been on stage and them being just that. But then afterwards they're like, dude, you were really funny. I'm like, what the fuck?
Why didn't you tell me?
Then why didn't you give me anything?
Like no affirmation. Bitch. Yeah, that doesn't even, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, sometimes people just watch shows like they're watching a TV show. You know what I mean?
Which is really weird. Especially when you're making eye contact with them and talking directly to them.
Yeah.
You're like, this is for you at this point. It's not for anyone else.
Yeah, I think what helps a lot with doing a set with a crowd that isn't on your side or not on anyone's side is I'm telling these jokes because I think I'm funny. I don't care whether you think it's funny because the whole point is like you kind of do the show for yourself.
Yeah.
In a way, I mean, it's also for the crowd, but you're like, I'm funny. You have to, because confidence goes so far in relationships and comedy.
Oh, 100%.
If you're able to just be like, I'm fucking funny, but like, lol, you know, people will kind of be forced to listen to you. So
Command the room.
yeah,
Make people want to listen to you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's really hard. That's not something that you just know how to do, because people are telepathic. Like you said, people can sense when you're just being loud because you're flailing your arms around, but then you're saying stupid puns or whatever, because the material, the work has to be there.
Yeah.
You smell bullshit in the air.
Yep.
And then
Everyone
you're like,
can
you're
smell
trying to trick
bullshit.
me. Talk to me about like controversial bits when it comes to lines that you don't cross. Is there anything that's off the table? Anything you don't touch?
I don't say the N-word.
Me either. I got mistaken for Mike B. I was like, wrong fucking guy. Please
You're like,
don't.
no, I'm a P.
Yeah.
Peace.
Outside of that, I don't have specific lines. I think the general rule when it comes to offensive material is it has to be as funny, if not more funny, than it is offensive. So you can make jokes about anything, whether it be like rape or whatever, but if you're up there making a shitty pun, it's just kind of disrespectful, not only to comedy, but dude, if you're just up there farting and saying offensive shit, then that's not comedy. You're just being offensive for the sake of being offensive.
Yeah.
So just, and I know that's like hard to gauge a lot of times, and that's what open mics are for, right? Where you work out material and then you figure it out. So if you don't have for sure a good joke for a showcase about rape, don't go up there and just, especially something that a lot of people do when they don't know how to host or don't have experience hosting is they go up and do shock humor and offensive material, and the crowd's like, the host? I don't even want to be here if the host is up there making my girlfriend want to kill herself.
Right.
You know what I
It
mean?
almost seems like you have a specific person in mind.
No.
Maybe.
No. I assure you there's a ton of comedians that do that.
Yeah.
That's not unique to anyone.
Yeah,
There's
no,
people
I
that have
think
been doing comedy in Reno for as long as I have, and even longer, that still can't host worth shit, dude.
hosting is hard.
It's hard.
Oh my gosh, you have to be on. You have to, I feel like, be. I mean, you're doing comedy in
a lot of
between.
focus.
Yeah, I mean, you hosted once and it was hard.
I hosted
Only once?
Twice.
Oh, twice.
At midnight coffee, and it was brutal the first time. The second time went a lot better.
Okay.
Because round one was just me eating shit and the lineup eating shit, and it was just a shitstorm.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people walked, so we lost most of the audience, and it was back to just comedians. Everybody was like, why are we here at this point? That's what it boiled down to. And the second time was just still bombing, but powering through with a little confidence of like, all right,
There you
keep
go.
it moving.
Yeah, and also the thing with bombing is once you bomb enough times, you're like,
I can keep doing it.
I've been here.
Yeah.
I could keep bombing. Fuck it. I had the worst bomb ever. I'm trying to turn this into a bit because it's so I had the worst bomb ever. I went to this random comedy competition show in Rio Vista, California.
Is that by Sacramento?
It's like an hour south of Sac.
Okay.
I just booked myself, dude. It's like Fallon with a river, dude. It's like rough. Like you can see like the crystallized river and everything.
Yeah.
But it's not like shiny, clean river. It's probably just meth crystals.
Oh, probably.
You know,
Like shining like that.
yeah. And not to beg on the show, like I've been to bar shows, and the guy was super honest with me when I booked myself on this show. He's like, this is a long ways to go for this type of show because it's a dive bar show. And so I did the show. I did my opening joke, and everyone went, oh.
From the
And
jump.
then just immediately just like,
Wait, why did they go? Why was that their reaction?
I think the joke bummed them out instead of making them laugh because I do a little bit of self-deprecation
Right.
or whatever.
But the literal crowd went,
They were like,
oh.
And then I proceeded to
Wow.
just talk into. The setup wasn't great either because you're just in the corner and all of the seats are high tops, and I'm a very small man, so I'm talking up to people on high tops.
It's a weird setup.
It's the opposite setup, dude. It's the exact opposite.
That's horrible.
And it's a dive bar, right? So people are there to drink and get fucked up.
Right.
And then I guess now they're being interrupted by bad comedy because it's my fault, right? And after that, I was like, not a ton of people were doing well, so I was still like, oh, maybe I could like move on to the next round or whatever. Still kind of delusional. 20 minutes after my set, I'm just sitting and dude, a homeless man walks up to me and he said, you had one good joke, and then he gave me $5, dude.
Shut up.
He
Like,
gave
you need this more
you know how bad it is that you have to bomb that the most justifiably selfish man
Right.
felt empathy for me for one moment. It's like, oh, honey, you need this more than I do.
Oh my god.
Turn that into a bit, please.
Dude, it's so fun. I'm like, I'm giving up on everything. Especially because I just got back from Denver doing a comedy festival and murdered for a weekend. And then I come back and got
In a dive bar
like,
in God's no
just
land.
ego checked by a homeless. Bless his heart, man. God damn it. It's like as if like Smeagol gave Frodo the ring back. You know what I mean?
This more than
He's
I
like,
do.
Frodo, you're a pussy. Keep this ring. I don't need this.
That's horrible. That's
Oh.
like very humbling moment too.
Dude, comedy, it will keep you honest, dude.
Yeah.
The moment that you start to think you're figuring it out, it'll just keep you humble, man. That's what I love about it.
It's up and down.
Up and down.
Yeah, you have a really good
Gotta ride those waves.
and you eat a bag of shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
You question everything and you wonder, is anything funny? And then it comes back.
Have I ever been funny?
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Am I just psychotic?
Yeah. Am I just insane? And then also other people are insane.
Right. We're just
Yeah.
in a room full of insane people.
Yeah.
So I guess I have another question then about giving up. Because I mean, the open mics that I've been to over the last year, I feel like I have seen certain comedians do the same jokes, plural, for a year. Mm-hmm. What's up with that? Like, why does that happen? Like, what? I guess.
Let me ask you that. Why do you think that is? Why do you think comedians go up there and tell the same jokes for a year?
Nice move.
Think about it.
Well, okay, let me think
about
about it. I'm going to think about it because.
Why do you think actors rehearse their lines?
Okay.
Also, here's the thing. A lot of people end up... there's been jokes that I've been doing since the very beginning. Like, my joke about, like, I look like if Shaq was a robot and his chest opened to reveal a small man operating his body.
Yeah.
I've had that joke since the first month I've been doing comedy. But I did that joke... when I went to Laughs Unlimited for the Pro-Am, and I did that joke, and I kind of just went, and then something came out of me just by going in a new room and getting a new environment, where I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, that's okay that you didn't laugh that much. Sometimes people laugh too hard, and then I'm like, wow, looks like I hurt my own feelings. Something came out of that because that joke didn't do well,
Yeah.
and then it forced me
You
to
come up with something else.
to recover,
Like tag
and that
up,
part
yeah.
killed, even if that joke didn't do well. So a lot of times you just find new things on stage, even after doing stuff for a year or even 4 years,
Yeah.
like me. You never know what's going to come out of it, and yeah, so. And just redoing the same material over and over. Also, for me, early on, it was really difficult for me to memorize my material. It was really difficult. So I was like really insecure. I was on my phone a lot, or I was like referencing my phone a lot or notebook.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of
Now I'm not doing. Now I almost never do that, even at open mics, because I've found the thing I was scared about when I was going up with notes is like, dude, if I forget my material, I'm fucked, right? But the thing I found is if you go up on stage without your notes, and even if you forget material, you'll at least eventually say something. Even if it's not funny, it's fine, and you'll be forced to grow from it.
Yeah.
You
Not
have
gonna
to
freeze.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes people do. I've seen that before, and I'm like, oh, that person's just been standing up there for 30 seconds trying to think of their extremely rehearsed line, but they're so nervous that they're bombing.
Yeah.
But I've found out that if I just leave myself in a vulnerable position, it will force me to like elevate.
Yeah.
Like
No,
that
that's definitely a different perspective. I told him, I was like, I really want to ask Mollman this because I'm curious, like, why people do tell the same jokes to the same audience and then they're not laughing.
I will say this. There are people that do the same material, never change it, and it never gets any laughs, and then wonder why they're not getting booked anywhere. Maybe actually just sit down.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I wonder is like,
some people are a little bit delusional.
Okay.
Some people are.
That was my question.
There's also an effect where I've had jokes the first time I tell them murder, and then every single time I do it afterwards, just nothing for months. Yeah. I'm like, what happened that first time I told a joke where it was funny? And I'm so confused. And then there's also people that do really well once with a joke, and then they chase. They're like, that joke did really well.
And they try to chase that.
And then they try to chase that.
Yeah, I got caught in that. I'm like, I got to abandon a lot.
Everyone does. Yeah. Everyone. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you don't know a joke is good until you do it 4 or 5 times, because you got to read different rooms and different crowds.
Yeah. So. Well, I think that's the key part is usually the open mics here in Reno are the same comedians. They are the same people that usually go to it. And I've wondered, like, is that why maybe people are not getting as much laughs? Is because I even, as an observer, an audience member, have heard this before. I know what's coming. And so I wonder, like, that's
part of it.
Is that why there's maybe like a little like more bombing that I've seen?
That's part of it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a general rule is if you're going to a mic and then you don't do any of the same material the next week, because generally speaking, people will remember the next week. I'd say give it like a few weeks, maybe a month, before you go back to the same room and tell the same joke.
Yes.
Because I've had people come over, tell the exact same 5 minutes week after week after week. And especially with Coffee and Comics, there's a lot of regulars. Mm-hmm. And then they wonder why no one's laughing. It's like, well, they've heard that joke 3 times, so it's like
where it's going.
Even if it is a good joke, they're not gonna laugh because it's no longer spontaneous.
Right.
It's really weird because there's like a contrast between like music and comedy, where like music, a lot of bands people only want to hear the hits, but comedy it's like the exact opposite, where it's like, oh, if I've heard that before, then I already saw the show. I don't need to see them tell that dick joke again.
Right.
You know, it's really weird. Because I think the difference between like comedy and music in that is the like facade of being a comedian is like, I'm just always funny. I'm just like, this is just a wacky thing that I came up.
Yeah.
The facade is like, I'm just up here talking and saying stuff.
Right.
When really they've been writing that material for 4 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's off the cuff in the moment. It feels authentic, but it's totally manufactured.
Because we just watched Adam Ray's Netflix special, and I don't know, there was like a lot of hype around it, but when I was watching it, the interviews, they did seem authentic. Yeah. But then other parts seemed like, wait, but how did you just transition into that so seamlessly? Like that means
that's probably just bad editing.
Well, yeah. Well, no. The editing. Did you watch it too?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, because the editing is actually terrible. But there are certain. Yeah, no, the editing.
It's immediately like, all right, this is the funniest part. Just cut this shit. Move it on.
Yeah, no, the editing was actually not great, but.
Maverick.
There was a lot of like seamless moments that he did have where I was like, oh, I thought this was like a genuine conversation, but he just triggered you to say that, which is why you're now doing this. So it just like kind of caught me in like a loop. I was like, what's real and what's not? Like, where am I? But, and that's what I like about comedy too. It's honestly really fun to just observe. Like I have no desire to ever go on stage, but.
No, I was actually thinking about asking that. Why don't you want to go on stage?
I don't know. I just don't really have a desire to like entertain.
You're not a performer? So you like
No, I do. I like podcasting. I like having conversations with people. Like I love learning about people. I feel like I was a performer because I did musical theater growing up.
Yeah.
I'll always
that's
say
why you don't want to do stand up, because you want to do theater.
Yeah. I would rather act than go on stage and like be myself telling jokes.
Here's the thing, you don't have to be yourself.
Yeah.
You can just be that's the thing about the stage. You can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
Could be dice.
Because comedy, theater kids hate when people say this. Comedy is theater.
Oh, it totally
It
is.
is.
No, I think it is. And when I was younger, I always thought if I were to get into acting, I would do comedy because it's just something I always loved. But no, I don't know. I also don't think I'm a good writer. I'm actually a terrible writer. I don't even say words correctly. Like, I don't know the English language that well.
Comedy will force you to get better, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comedians that sucked at writing, but then they just kept doing it and then got better. People suck at comedy when they first start 99% of the time, and then you just kind of get better, hopefully. Sometimes they don't get better, but
Yeah.
if you are willing to be a little smart and honest with yourself about it, then you'll get better.
Totally.
You know, and you seem like a pretty smart person, so I think you'll be fine if you decide.
Well, if you hear me long enough, I start to not sound that smart. So,
I said seem.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Talk to me about creative process. What's your writing style like? Do you write? Is it mostly on stage?
I do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
The way that I honestly get a lot of my premises is I just hit the record button while I'm driving. And then I just record myself just talking to myself like a maniac. Okay. So I'm just like in traffic talking to myself and eventually sometimes getting myself worked up. Because sometimes when I get into a premise or I have a really strong belief, I just start I'm like, these people are insane, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people think I'm road raging, but I'm just like trying out a bit.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I hope I see you someday.
It's just like losing my mind.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you, but
Right.
fuck you. Also
yelling
not you.
in the car.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of it.
That's a sight.
Yeah, so it's really messy start to like get premises.
Yeah.
But then I just kind of like, and then I just I have like multiple Word documents or Google Docs, whatever, not. Sorry if you're not sponsored by them, but
We got 0 sponsors right now.
I mean, you're not sponsored by Google.
Yeah.
Jesus, I thought this was an
Google
official
Docs.
podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
out of here.
All right, nerdy aspect though. I do love that they added tabs on Google Docs.
Yeah,
You
I
notice
love that.
So
Yeah.
helpful for breaking up bits and then like, here's a premise and I have no idea where it's going. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I fucking love that because before it was just one long running piece with page breaks.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Absolutely.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Google, sponsor us.
So I also have a notebook, but I have I have 2 different Google Docs. I have one just a mess of any thought that I have that's weird, random, or interesting. Just a mess of a document. It's like 1,000,000 pages long because it's 4.5 years of all of this.
Oh my gosh.
And then
manifested.
yeah, dude, if you looked at that, you'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with this person?
Wow. Is all of your recent stuff at the top? Or is it at the bottom?
Kind of, but I'm so ADHD that it's such a fucking mess.
Like everything is everywhere in it because you're probably adding on as you like.
Yeah,
have
I just like
experience
I
with
just
it.
find a spot because the way my brain works is if I don't get this thought down, it's gone forever.
Yeah.
I have to get it down somewhere, otherwise it's gone forever.
Yeah, I need to start doing that.
I get borderline like angry when I'm like, I have a thought, don't interrupt me. Like I have to write this down.
But I say that when I'm interrupting someone because I'm like
Yeah.
my roommate Chris, she's had to like be like just like stop interrupting me. I'm like, sorry, I just had thoughts.
No, 100%. I literally in my notebook for work because I'm kind of like in a. Well, I guess it hasn't really, I don't know. I've been in the job for like 8 months now, but there's so many things that I'm learning. And so when I have questions, I'm just writing them down.
Yep.
And then I just have them like, I consolidate it. I'm like, okay, who do I go to for this question? Because before I would have questions and then I wouldn't write it down. And I'm like, what was that? Like now I don't even know how to do my job anymore.
Yeah.
But no, it's so good to do that, especially when you're at open mics. I feel like you can get good ideas just from watching.
Yeah.
And then just being able
Sounds
to
like
write
you're
a quick
stealing
note.
material. No, I'm joking.
Oh no, not me.
Get it.
I'm like,
No,
like
I'm
for you
joking.
guys, you know?
No, but yeah, you do get inspiration from writing and whatever.
Yeah.
But also, like, I do write a lot because even before I did comedy, I was a writer. I've always written things.
Oh.
But then I gave up. So that's when I started doing comedy.
And ironically, probably wrote way more.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like every morning, I actually just write for like 5-10 minutes, just stream of consciousness, because that's just how I get my brain to start to function. Otherwise, I'm just like in a cloud for the entire day.
Yeah.
It gets me out of my depression and stuff like that. So then with that, and then the mess, and then also random notebooks, which I also have just random thoughts and stuff like that. Then I have another Google Doc where I have precision bits, where I actually start to edit actual premises. And one of the things that I found that doesn't work for me is writing exact sentences and paragraphs of words, because every time I've tried to do that, what I say comes out so different, because it's way more natural when I'm talking on stage. So I just remember like bullet points. I write in thoughts, not sentences. And that helps a lot just in general with being able to memorize. Like I said earlier, with like having struggle memorizing a bit is... if I write in thoughts, then I just know what thought comes after the next thought.
Yeah.
So if I know the start, then I know where the rest of the bit goes, because it's just like having a conversation. Hello, how are you? Good, great. Like you know that you have put together a good bit when it's easy to memorize, because it just makes sense to you. Then you realize how you feel about something. You realize the laughter will also make you remember it, because you're like, fuck yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
You know?
That's where it should pop.
Exactly. So it's really messy at first, and then I write in thoughts. Go from one thought to the next to the next.
That's really good just for presenting, like in general, because the way that I memorized was literally memorizing lines that were already written out for me. And so I feel like with the way that I've learned and received information, I have to be like told like what I'm going to present, or I have to be told what I'm going to say. And so I've had a really hard time finding my own voice, because I've just always had to memorize what other people have like created for me, essentially. And so that's why like I'm always in awe of like what you guys do, because it's all you. Like you're the writer, you're also the actor, you're the presenter, you're everything.
You're everything.
Like it's
one man or woman show.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's actually pretty incredible.
Or whatever you are.
Yeah, I really like that process though, like more bullet points rather than sentences.
Some people that have to have exact sentences though. Some people need that. I am not one of those. If I try to memorize a sentence, it's gone. There's no way. I just need to remember what I'm supposed to say, and then I'll present it.
Well, it's better conversationally, because you also are trying to talk to the audience. Real. Yeah.
It's authentic that way.
Yeah.
It comes across, and it's not like this manufactured sentence where people can hear the comma and the period.
Because you know how comedians go up there, and even if they're not directly reading off their phone, which sometimes they do, or notebook, they sound like robotic. So I was at the store, and it's just like, dude, it sounds like if you're going to do that, just have a fucking AI person say it for you into the mic. Yeah. You know,
like add some personality onto it.
And I get like if someone's brand new, or they're still trying to get over stage fright, or if it's an open mic and they're testing out material, fine. Yeah. But I've seen people do that even on booked showcases. I'm like, oh, dude, that's unprofessional. Yeah, it's unprofessional. I don't mind when comedians use notebooks or phones on stage, unless it's a show where people paid to see you.
Oh yeah, no.
And I've seen that happen a few times. I'm like,
oh, that's
and there's
horrible.
A few specific situations where someone like had a panic attack like the day before, or even like right before the show.
Yeah.
And they're like, I couldn't function, but I still had to do the show, because it's even more professional to not do the set that I was booked for.
Right.
So there's exceptions to every rule, but overall, if you're just like up there on a booked show where people paid to see you, it's a little unprofessional. Yeah.
Okay, I have like a transition question that was like kind of related to what we're talking about, but not really.
What kind of transitions we talking?
I heard
what
that.
Kind of transitions we talking about?
Yeah.
A little off.
Oh, I'm circumcised.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay, you answered my question. No, I heard that you don't really like KillTony.
No, I don't. I think some episodes are great, but I think it's I think sometimes it's really entertaining. I think sometimes it's really fun. Like the episode with Shane Gillis and Adam Ray being Joe Biden, Donald Trump. Super funny.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of a weird conglomerate, or it's a weird representation of everything in entertainment that's like really dystopian. Because it's like every comedian only gets 1 minute, and it's like, let's check out this retard and see if they're able to make us laugh, and if not, then fuck this guy. This guy sucks and he should kill himself. And it's just like such a disgusting, oppressive atmosphere. Which, here's the thing, I get that that's the point. The point is they want it to be kind of like a huge hurdle to overcome, because that's what shows who's funny and what's not. I get it, but a lot of it just comes off really mean, and it's like really oppressive, and I watch it every once in a while because it's okay, but I still overall it just comes off so mean-spirited, and to me that's what comedy doesn't feel like it should be to me.
Well, I've seen it manifest at open mics.
Like when, I remember the episode where Ari Shaffir was like naked and he put his dick on a pregnant woman's belly, and I was like, "What the fuck, dude?
Like, what is going on?" I don't
like.
think I
It
saw
sounds
that
like
episode.
that. Just it didn't seem funny. It just looked like Ari was doing something fucked up because he has enough power in this situation to do it. And I'm like, dude, that's just. I don't think that's funny. I think it's insane. But I don't think it's great. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not a big fan of KillTony. I watch it every once in a while if there's like a certain guest. But overall, I'm just like,
It's not your vibe.
it's not my vibe.
I love
not my vibe.
the
'Cause
pressure cooker that they
yeah.
make of it. I appreciate that, because I think that there are people who it brings out a different character element that you might not always see at a normal open mic. But I also noticed some of the KillTony fan base at your open mic, where there was, I forget her name, but she's a comedian in a wheelchair, and everybody's calling her the wheelchair bitch.
Yeah.
It's just
Kara,
like, you guys
she's cool.
don't even know her name. You don't have that
she has.
decorum.
Also, people are shitting on her before she's even performed.
Yeah.
And so there's crowd members are like, who the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
Are they just... Also, they didn't even know she was a comedian, so they're just like shitting on this woman in a wheelchair. And people are like in the crowd like... Why are they just going after this person in a wheelchair?
Yeah, like,
and here's the thing, she's a super good sport. I've talked to her a lot. She's a super cool person.
Yeah.
And one of the most genuinely confident people I have ever met in my life. She races professional race cars for a living.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. She's awesome.
Wait, who is this person?
Her name is Kara... Crap, I can't remember her last name. I could show you her
Wait, she
Instagram.
races?
Yes.
She does professional racing.
Yes. That's part
How does she do that?
Not with her feet.
Right.
hand controls.
Oh, I didn't know
Same
that.
way that other people in wheelchairs drive in like minivans.
So
Yeah,
it's,
I did not realize that people in wheelchairs
They're just
drove.
letting
it's
them
very
drive.
rare. It's very rare. But yeah.
Wow, that is actually
Yeah, she's a super cool person. I like
Crazy.
her a lot. Her and her partner, I think his name is Gage, also super cool.
yeah.
Yeah, mad respect to both of them. But
So what you're saying though with the KillTony atmosphere is that it's now transcending into crowds where people are just like feeling like they can make fun of anything just
Yeah.
because it's comedy.
Well, because they go up and they're like, "Pff, this retard or this fag or whatever, and then comedians see that and then say it without any actual jokes, thinking that they can get away with it, and then comedians go up and do it, and then eat shit, and then crowds hate them
Yeah.
and get mad at them, and it's like, well, yeah, KillTony's a very specific atmosphere.
Yeah.
And
Well, I don't think it's everything in KillTony though. Like that,
It's not
I think
everything,
it's specific
no.
comedians that come on his show. I actually don't think Tony does that. Like, I don't feel like he does as much.
No, he does a
shits on the
ton-
comedian.
He does a
shits on.
ton of roasting, of course.
Well, yes, he does. He does roasting on the comedian, but I don't think it's like inappropriate. Like, I feel like what he says is like kind of the truth sometimes. Like, he's just kind of stating facts. And it's very harsh, but that's also the environment that he created is like you're being judged off of your minute. But if you have a good interview and you have a personality
Yeah.
and you can conversate, like you can totally redeem your set.
I will say, generally speaking, Tony, as long as he can tell that you actually care and are trying, he'll be at least not a complete asshole to me. The only times I've seen him be a complete asshole was for a few people that went up for the first time and acted like they were too cool for it, or whatever. When someone is actively disrespecting stand up, I think that's when he's actively a dick. Or sometimes when people have like tried to bring up his personal life.
Totally.
And it's just like, well, what the fuck are you doing? Go out, perform for the crowd, you idiot. But it's just, to me, some of the comedy just comes off mean-spirited. And I think that's fine, especially because, like, I don't know, I have mean jokes that I used to do or sometimes still do, but sometimes they don't work.
Sometimes they're fun.
Sometimes they're fun.
So one for me, one for
I think you would. I think you would kill on it. Like we've talked.
Really?
Yeah, we both think that you would do really well.
I think I would be really good at the interview. I don't know if my comedy would translate super well in that atmosphere, though. It depends on which material I do. I don't know. Maybe. I would do it because even if I'm not the biggest fan of it, I want to do as many rooms as possible. That's just how you get better at doing comedy. And it would just be such a weird, interesting thing because it's not 1 minute of stage time because you do the interviews. So it's like sometimes like 10 minutes of stage time.
You get 20. You're just up there talking because their life is so interesting.
Absolutely.
It's like your minute sucked, but you as a person, like, tell me more.
Absolutely. So like I would do it if I ever got the chance to, but like I'm not gonna. There's comedians that go up there like I'm gonna do KillTony and then that's how I'm gonna make it. I'm like, that's not how I'm. Like maybe if I get extra shows off of it, great. But I don't need it to be the thing that makes me make it. In comedy.
That catapults
you know what I mean?
into where you want to be.
Because especially if you're like looking at it like that, then that becomes your ceiling. And it's like, well, I guess if that's your ceiling, then that's fine. That's great because like some of the regulars there are out selling shows across the country and like doing headlining, and it's better than what I'm doing right now. To be perfectly honest, so that's great. Like that's fine, but like I don't know, my ego's too fragile to say I want to make it on KillTony. You know what I mean?
100%. So what are your goals then? Like what with comedy? Where do you want to be?
I just want to be really funny. That's the main goal, right? Wherever that takes me, great. I would like to start touring. Honestly, just actually doing a tour or going on the road and doing comedy consistently. That feels like the dream because I've done road shows and it feels like I'm actually living. It's fun. I grow as a comedian and I get better at writing and performing, and I love seeing and meeting new people. It's so invigorating, like it's so fulfilling for me. So if I can just be on the road consistently doing comedy, I would love that. Now, whatever that means, great. I don't know. I have this weird specific delusion where if it happens, then great, but I don't need it to happen. But it's like a really cool thing that I want. So like I told you, I was from Deadwood, South Dakota, right? There's this one new-ish casino opened a little bit over 10 years ago called Deadwood Mountain Grand. And it's actually a really big venue. Like Ron White has performed there. Like the country band Big and Rich are like part owners or something. I saw Stone Temple Pilots there.
That's on a show too.
Yeah, they're great live. Yeah. And I think it would be really cool if I went to actually go and perform at that venue.
In your hometown.
In my hometown.
That would be so sick.
And then I would like open like, dude, remember when this casino used to be called the Slime Plant? Because that's what it used to be. People would call it the Slime Plant because it was an abandoned mine. And then I remember like walking, I was like in high school, and I was like, they're turning the Slime Plant into a big casino?
It's just
what the
another
fuck is
slime
going
plant.
on? Yeah, it's just a slime plant. And so everyone was like laughing their asses off, wondering why they were trying to turn this into a casino. And honestly, it's a big casino. It's a big
Wow,
venue.
that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So that would be super cool.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever happen. Maybe it will. But that would be super cool.
Why don't you think it would ever happen? Like, why is that?
I'm really insecure about my place in the comedy world. I don't know where I'm going to go or how far I'll succeed with comedy. And even if I do succeed, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get booked in Deadwood, South Dakota. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people romanticize like the road dog lifestyle.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm doing a show every week or weekend. I'm touring all around the country, living out of my car. It sounds very romantic until it's like...
Until you're doing it and you're like, dude, traveling is so rough.
Yeah.
I've been traveling a lot over the past like 2 months, where going to music festivals and comedy festivals, going to California and doing shows. And even just for like, it's not even that much traveling, but it's enough that it wears on you. Even just traveling once a week for like a month and a half, it fucks up my schedule. It like throws me off. I start to like neglect my personal needs, like meditating and stuff like that. And so it's like going on the road is rough. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would have to have a routine, I feel like, because even with food, like I think that would be the biggest thing for me. Like if I was like, I need to have the same food at least for breakfast, like to start my day.
Food's always been rough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, eating is one of my banes of existence because I'm just like, I hate being full. And to me, food seems like a burden. Like I love the taste of things, but I'm like...
But it's a task beyond
It's a task. I'd rather be doing just about anything else.
Really? Oh,
Why is that? Like what is going on there?
So one of my friends, he's actually a therapist. I was talking to another friend about like my grievances with like eating. I'm like, I don't know. And even even when I'm hungry, I ignore it or whatever.
Really?
And I don't know what's going on because it feels like I'm just like self-harming myself in a way. And it's not even like a anorexic thing where it's like, I need to look this way, because it's not that. It's not even like a body image thing.
Is it like a control thing?
It's like... So what he said, I was talking to my friend about this, and he wasn't even like in the conversation. He was reading a book, and then I was saying this, and then he just sets the book down, and looks at me, and he's like, "Sounds like you're just used to being disappointed."
Fuck.
And I was like,
damn.
Wow.
I wasn't even, but like, fuck you, but you're right, but fuck you, but thank you, but fuck you.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just used to being disappointed in myself.
God damn.
Yeah.
That's what crazy.
Yeah.
Was there any like solution that he gave for that? He just kind of like observed and then
No. Well, the
"Pay me
solution is to
$100."
just keep. The solution for me is I have been eating better. I've been working out, and I'm. The solution is to just keep trying.
Yeah.
I think it is. Keep trying, and I've been doing a lot of work trying to recognize gratitude. That's something that I've learned through sobriety, and to just keep trying and do a little bit better every day. For the longest time, the lie that I was living is, if I hate myself enough, that'll push me to be better. But maybe for some people that works. Some people, if they're fueled by spite, that's great for them. Not me. I don't function that way.
No.
To me, the way out is like the light, and expressing gratitude towards myself and other things. And then that gives me so much space to be like, okay, I can do this. I can do this, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to get better every day, ultimately, because I want to be better and I want to be healthy. And it's a lot of me relearning how to be kind to myself as well, and not being disappointed in myself. So it's like kind of teaching yourself a new language to yourself.
Oh, 100%. You're rewiring your brain.
Yeah. And it's hard, and you're not going to be perfect, and you're going to mess up, but also that's fine. Failure is part of it. It's part of comedy. It's part of life. Failure is an amazing teacher, you know?
Being fueled by spite has a time horizon on it. You can't do it long term. There's a handful of people who can that are very unique, and they also tend to kind of piss it on everybody else.
Yeah, also they suck as people.
Yeah, that's a terrible.
Have you ever met someone that is just always grumpy and angry all the time?
Yeah.
They suck to be around.
Yeah.
They suck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People that complain all the time. That used to be me.
Yeah? What changes there?
I feel like, honestly, CrossFit changed my life.
Working out helps a lot.
Yeah. I felt like I was just always complaining because I just was unhappy with my body. I was unhappy with myself. And it just, when my body started transforming because I was doing CrossFit, like it had to. Like I had to be stronger. I had to start building muscle to do the things that I was doing. And then I started appreciating my body because I was like, whoa, like I can do this. Like, and it takes, years. Like it takes a while to get to that place, but it's just completely changed my outlook on myself and other people. But I do think that you need that something to bring you out of it. Like I feel like comedy is like that for people. Like it brings you, it almost heals you in a way if you're
There's
going
therapeutic
through.
qualities. It's not therapy, but it's a healthy creative outlet sometimes for people.
Totally.
Sometimes it is therapy, and everyone's uncomfortable. They're like,
Yeah,
when
because
is this over?
some people just dump their shit and they're like, this person's really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually
Kill
not
yourself
funny.
outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because every comedian's been a victim of it in some capacity where you go up and talk about something sad or fucked up and you're like,
Yeah.
this is going to be like edgy, but it's like, actually, you basically just told the crowd you want to kill yourself for 5 minutes and now they're bummed out.
Yeah.
They're actually
Just suck
calling
the funny.
911 right now.
Yeah, exactly. What about you? What do you do for like self-care?
Self-care?
Or like, so there was like a point where you said like you were complaining all the time.
Yeah.
Were you ever like that?
I tried living off of spite for a couple years.
How'd that work out for you?
I'd spent a lot of time in the gym and was pretty shallow when it came to like my own masculinity and really projecting that onto other people and holding like this fake standard of other people, which was totally based on nothing because I was insecure.
Right.
Moved past that. I think you kind of helped bring me out of that because I would have a lot of like self-loathing thoughts and it would spiral into this like, oh, I'm not worth it. And then it would invalidate anything positive that I was doing. And so it'd be this kind of bouncing back and forth that got really old.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
for self-care, I exercise somewhat frequently. It's kind of difficult being disciplined, to be honest.
Discipline is something I struggle with all the time.
Yeah, it's hard to be in a
Zero
routine.
It's changing a little bit, but it's hard.
I think having a routine like helps with it, but it feels manufactured because it's very easy once I get out of that routine just to like stop exercising, eating like shit. We're off the hooch for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know how long it's going to go. We've flirted with the idea of a long time, but
Gotcha.
yeah. So that's been helpful for creativity and being a little bit better towards myself and not just escaping my problems.
Hell yeah.
Because I'm not an alcoholic by any means, but definitely drinking on the weekends to like blow off the steam of the week and not process anything.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, because it can be a way to just, you know what, instead of thinking about how sad I am, I'm going to just not be sad.
Yeah. And then just
And then
go to Monday.
stack it up for a year and a half straight, and then you're just like having a mental breakdown because you've been ignoring your feelings for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that came to a head in Truckee. That was helpful.
Yeah?
And healthy. We lived in Truckee for 3 years.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
basically it came to, I think it was like we drank almost every weekend for a year straight. Or it felt that
Truckee
way.
is.
Truckee, I've heard, is a party town.
It's kind of gnarly, actually. Yeah, I mean things.
Especially
Yeah,
in
it's
the winter.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, during the winter, there's like
Night starts early.
the house parties are a thing. Like I feel like house parties were a thing like in college, like in your early 20s. But no, house parties
Truckee
are
just seems like a constant party.
no, it is a
And
constant.
parties are great, but if that's just your life, then it's not a party anymore. Then it's
No.
just a thing that you
It's just
do.
a hang, and you're like, no,
Yeah.
I'm just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So it was like a year of every weekend being wasted and then being so upset when I had made no other like tangible progress to things that mattered to me. Like, I don't know, money, being able to plan for the future. Like, money doesn't matter a lot to me.
Right.
Generally speaking, I like it as a tool.
I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
Like living.
Any more than that, don't care.
Yeah.
100%.
So-
I need money to achieve like certain goals that I have in life, but it's like, do I need to be flowing in cash? It'd be nice, but
It'll alleviate
like, it's
some
not
issues.
something that I'm like desire. Like, that's not a desire.
Yeah.
I guess it's more of like, I just
Well, as
want
Diddy once said, "Mo money, mo problems."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of problems. right
Yeah,
now.
a lot of problems
Yeah.
caused by, honestly, not money, by yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to, is getting in your own way. So
Yeah.
that's my self-care, is trying to get out of my own way. And I do jujitsu for fun.
Right on.
Has a lot to do with comedy when it comes to bombing frequently and learning from mistakes. And then basically you go in there for the first 6 months getting your ass handed to you and like, oh, I'm starting to understand there's a language to this that I thought I could speak but realize I can't. And then the next 6 months is playing around with like the fundamentals, make a jerk off joke here, and you get better.
Yeah, yeah.
And eventually you start talking about how daddy doesn't love you, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think the formula of comedy is continually trying and going outside of your comfort zone and then finding there's like grooves. There's certain grooves that make sense that resound to you but are relatable to others. But I think that what we're lacking in the Reno comedy community is the hang of like having the comfort of talking to another comedian.
Camaraderie.
The camaraderie. It feels cliquey a little bit, and maybe that's
So
new
I'm
to
going
it.
to let you in on a really disappointing fact.
Yeah.
Every comedy scene is going to be like that.
Okay.
Especially I've been to other comedy scenes in like Sacramento and Denver, and they're way worse than Reno. Reno, you can at least like talk and have fun, but like when I went to the Savage Henry Comedy Festival, it was fun. People were there. But it was way more cliquey. There was like 150 comedians there.
Everybody's vying for attention.
Everyone's vying for attention. Everyone's also fucked up on drugs. It felt like high school, and it felt like most of the people that I were talking to were talking to me, but they were always looking for someone else more important to talk to.
Like a little career level up.
Yeah,
Get me
yeah,
through.
just someone to network with that can help them get on shows or whatever that
Yeah.
isn't me or whatever.
That's frustrating.
It's, I guess it's frustrating, but also it's show business. It's like part of it.
Yeah.
Reno is a little cliquey, but I honestly tried to just do my best to like be oblivious to it, because I just want to talk to everyone. If someone's talking to me, I'll talk to them unless that person specifically I don't like, but I don't try to stay in certain cliques.
Yeah,
I mean
that's-
everyone has people they end up gravitating towards in friend groups. Like that's just normal and that's fine. But I think with you, it might just be a little bit different because you're also very new.
Yeah. I'm 1 year into it. I've like gotten to lay the land a little bit.
It took me a couple of years to finally start to feel like I was making genuine friends through comedy.
Yeah.
And so it might just take more time, and also in a type of community where it's people that are just jerking themselves off in front of crowds, and you're trying to compete for spots in a very small town. Considering that fact, Reno's a pretty damn decent community. I've been
Yeah.
treated pretty well. And ultimately, with a lot of times, the community is going to give back to you what you put out. Ultimately.
That makes
So you're right. It is a little bit cliquey, but that's every
I'd say that's
community.
humanity.
That's humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, CrossFit's kind of like that too. Like I remember going to the CrossFit down in San Diego, super fucking cliquey, like hated it. I was like, I'm never coming back to this place ever again. And I thought like Truckee was cliquey. And then I came back to Truckee and I'm like, wait, my people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it took me going away to like really appreciate coming back and being like, okay, no, this is a good
You found a cult.
crew. Yeah. Actually, I really like Reno CrossFit a lot better. Oh my gosh. Because there's so many more people that are like my age. And I feel like in Truckee, we were just with a bunch of people that were like retired or had kids in their like 40s and 50s.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it was really hard to make friends there.
Because all of the kids are out there still doing drugs. They're not doing CrossFit.
Right.
They're doing drugs. All the
100% actually. Or they're just ski bums. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was really hard to make friends in Truckee. I'm so happy that we're in Reno.
Yeah.
Because Truckee's also a small town too.
Super small.
Yeah.
So if you don't fit in, small towns are rough. If you don't fit in with the small town, you're
kind of fucked. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I will be right back. I just need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll be back.
Like Mike said before, you have been kind of like a community leader in the comedy space here in Reno. Okay. Yeah. Especially, I mean, your open mic literally has like 20, 25 people that come, and there's a lot of comics that can't even make it on the list because it's already so long. Like you've created such a, just like a network of people that they can like really rely on you, it seems like. And I think that's really important. We were talking, I mean, as an observer and as someone who's like, wanting to continue pursuing this, we want to contribute to the comedy scene. Like we want to make Reno like a space where comedy's like a thing here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what do you feel like Reno needs? Like in the comedy world, what is Reno lacking?
There a vacancy, like in like a space that could be filled.
I guess either that, yeah, like just whatever you think Reno is lacking. Like, how do we like elevate the comedy scene here? Like, what do we need to do?
Ooh,
talent. We need some talent.
Part of it, but that's something that ideally, if you keep doing shows and having open mics, hopefully, like, because the thing about like doing comedy is there's comedians that I see where I'm like, holy shit, they're so good, and then it makes you want to be better. Mm-hmm. I had that thought when I saw Steven Dente perform, not only for his album taping, but like the Wednesday before at Underworld. I was like, oh my God, he's just murdering, and it makes me want to work harder and get better,
Yeah.
So that helps. I will say this, as much as I like defended the comedy community in Reno a lot, I think people being less cliquey would definitely help. I hate using this word, but being influential, right? Ideally should be kind to each other, lift each other up, try not to be bitter, try not to like shit on other people or be weird or whatever.
Yeah.
I just want people to have a good time. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what show business is. People should have a good time or enjoy the show. And I think that comes both on stage and off stage. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel like I'm trying to lead anything. I just want people to be happy. I'm trying to be as inviting to everyone as possible. And I think it is cool of you to say that. So I think where maybe the comedy community might be lacking is, I think sometimes shows could be produced a little bit better, a little bit more professional. And I think a lot of people just put on a show and then don't do a ton of work to like make it a professional show.
Yeah. Are you talking about like an open mic or an actual show?
I'm topping like open mics usually. Okay. Because a lot of the booked and produced shows that I see around here, at least lately, honestly are pretty damn decent. Like Daddy and the Dad does really good. Justin Hudson has put together some really good showcases as well. But like in terms of open mic, a lot of it, even though it is technically an open mic and maybe I shouldn't be taking it that serious, but also at the end of the day, it still is a show. Mm-hmm. And I want even open mics to be as professional and good as possible. Yeah. Because especially one of the things that comedians get frustrated with a lot with open mics is they get frustrated with performing just only other comedians.
Mm-hmm. I know. That's the thing that sucks.
That's the frustrating thing about doing open mics sometimes. And, well, it's like, well, you're not thinking of the audience that you want to bring in. or you don't care, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And so I think there just needs to be more effort and focused on getting an audience to come to an open mic. And some of that it involves actually putting effort towards marketing shows, even if it's an open mic or something like that. And
Yeah. And I think also one way that you can, and I'm not saying you specifically, but comedy in Reno could elevate is with an open mic, having like a on-hand production staff of one person,
Right.
somebody to work a light, somebody to work the timing, so that the host isn't
Doing everything.
burdened with all of that. 'Cause
Yeah.
it takes
Right.
away from your ability to actually have fun. And I feel like that would at least enhance the production of the show where it's,
diversify the workload
yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
Yeah,
If it
because I
all being
struggle
on
with
one
that a
person.
little bit too.
Well, I see it with everyone that I've watched host. It's like, okay, you are so busy that you're almost missing out like on the fun of it all. It's
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And this is
And then
something,
crowds can sense that. They can sense when the crowd's just like kind of in their head, not being, because with stand-up comedy, you got to be really present. And the crowd can sense when you're like in your head or thinking about the next comedian or whatever. They can sense that. So you're totally right. But the problem there is there's a lot of businesses that won't either pay you at all or won't pay you really much of anything. And so it's hard to find even a second person to be able to do that.
Because they're either going to do
somebody
it
who's
for
as
free.
dedicated,
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
also going to show up on time and not fuck off,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
hard.
Yeah, because then the other problem is then you have to rely on another person. And comedians, surprise, surprise, are notoriously some of the most unreliable people on the fucking planet.
Yeah.
Can't imagine why.
Right.
So that's hard. Like an actually good, consistent comedy club would be so huge.
Yeah. I think
'Cause
that's a
there was
big
Wayne with the
thing.
Pioneer, but he doesn't even do shows at the Pioneer, and that's super inconsistent because he does Reno Tahoe Comedy does shows all around Reno, but it's like there's not like an actual club.
Yeah.
And there's the Laugh Factory, but no local comedians can get booked there because the booker in LA is the same booker for the one in Reno. And so if you're the booker in LA is never going to see you, they're never going to book you, you know, because the local Laugh Factory here in Reno doesn't give a fuck about local comedy. So it feels like there's like a massive gap between local comedians that are open micers or like could feature and open for a bigger comedian.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge gap
Yeah.
between that, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Because you're right, especially if Reno keeps growing the size, like as it keeps growing, because all these tech companies and all these other businesses going in, then it will eventually become a bigger-ish city.
Yeah.
Like a city, even if it's a small city, like around the size of like Salt Lake or something. And Salt Lake has a really good comedy club
Yeah.
too. So having like an actual consistent comedy club that isn't the Laugh Factory would be so huge.
Shows love to local comics and
Yeah.
to actually craft the scene.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Let's go into business and just open up a comedy club with no idea what we're doing.
Well, that
You have
sounds
to have
like
money to do that.
yeah, and that also sounds like just doing a show like we do now.
Yeah.
Where I book a show at a coffee shop and then do that. And that's the thing. Then you have to make that your job. So you'd have to quit your actual job. And then you'd have to have comedians booked Thursday through Sunday probably. And then you have to have a ton of networks where if you're doing local comedy for a year, most of the comedians you're going to know are just going to be in Reno.
Yeah.
And you want if you're doing an actual comedy club, you're booking
Out of
international comedians
Yeah.
sometimes.
Totally.
So it's like I don't even know where to start if I was.
That's
to
why you would
start.
hire out, though.
Right.
Like, you would need to be well connected for, like, the staff.
Well, you'd also need to know how to
And-
put asses in seats for the Thursday.
Yeah,
shows,
there's a lot
the
that goes
Sunday
into it
shows.
for sure. But I feel like, I don't know, it's just something that I think would be cool to be part of and to help grow just because it's something that I really enjoy. I think that there's a lot of talent in Reno that's not getting, the exposure that they deserve.
Because it's in Reno.
Yeah.
And Reno is a shitty rep for comedy.
Oh my gosh,
Massive,
worst.
bigger comedians, they're like, fuck Reno.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck that shit. That guy was doing crack in the fucking crowd and I had to kick him out because he was heckling me about nothing. And it's like, I kind of get the rep that Reno has, but also, I don't know. I like it. I like Reno.
I love this city, and it's
I love it. I love it too.
It's fun to shit on Reno. There's something.
It's easy. It's really easy to shit on.
When you live here, it's acceptable. When you're out of this area and you shit on it, it's like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
But also there's people, not to be like anti-California, there's people that come from California, they're like, fucking hate it here. It's like, well then
Leave.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I say about everything. It's like, well then leave. And there's something to be said where it's like, well, I can't afford to live anywhere else. It's like, well, Reno is cheaper than almost every place in California.
But it's starting to get really expensive.
It's starting to get expensive. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because you told everybody.
Dude, the contrast from moving from Wyoming
I bet.
to Reno in terms of pay, guess how much my 2-bedroom was in Laramie, Wyoming, back in 2018.
$400 a month.
Yes, exactly that.
Actually?
$400 for a 2-bedroom apartment.
What?
And now,
Telepathic.
now I live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my roommate, and it's almost $2,000,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
And that's
100%.
cheap. That's cheap for Reno, and I live in a decent luxury apartment.
So fucking nuts.
Absolutely insane. I remember I was like, dude, I'm going to have to go back home to South Dakota because there's no way I'm going to be able to afford to live in Reno, because going from $400 a month for a 2-bedroom,
Yeah.
living comfortably at $10 an hour,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a livable wage with $400 in rent.
Exactly.
But when it's $2,000, all of a sudden you're like,
It's
start sucking dick or something.
Yeah, which I did. I did, but I also
But I wasn't getting paid for it.
Yeah. Maybe I should start getting paid for that.
Well, the lot lizard is still a lot. The amount of people that put lot lizard because of the
I was
costume.
one of those people.
I know.
You were
but
the lot lizard.
There was, oh my gosh, it was actually really funny. Someone DM'd me and was like, "Did you actually get a lot lizard?" And I was like,
Yes.
I guess
Kind
you'll
of.
have to find out.
Find out.
All right. Well, where can people find you? You also have the Midnight Snack, which is your podcast.
Yeah, it's like a talk show that we stream
Yeah.
on Twitch every Monday night at 9, and then I put episodes on YouTube when I decide to edit. But editing is rough. So yeah, I do that every Monday night at 9, and it's at Mollman Comedy for everything, Instagram, Facebook, Grindr, all those. Yeah, that's where you find me. And then I'm actually going to be headlining a show. I'm going to start promoting this soon. Hopefully, will this come out before December 7th?
Yeah, this is going to come out probably next week.
I'm headlining Coffee and Comics on December 7th.
Okay.
Nice.
Come out and see that. Tickets are only going to be $10. You get them online. Or if you message me and you're like, I'm poor, I'll just let you in anyways. So,
Okay.
yeah, come out to that. So find me on social media at Mollman Comedy and YouTube and all that stuff. So
Fuck yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for wanting to come on and talk to us. And it was really nice to get to know you more.
Hell yeah.
Like I always love seeing you at the open mics.
Plug the open mic.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I also host the open mic at Coffee and Comics every Tuesday at 7. Come check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Again, it's open mic, so bring a date. Bring a date.
Bring the first
Bring
date.
the first date, and then go up there and then just do the most messed up material. Go up first,
Yes.
then show your date how big of a dick you have.
Yeah.
They'll love it.
Wing it around.
Yeah. Swing it, or if you're a woman, show that big pussy energy.
That camel toe.
Yeah, dude. That.
Big lips.
Yeah. That.
Smacking hips.
That massive clit, dude.
Oh god.
Basically just a dick.
Yeah. It's a micro dick, or if you're me, it's a dick.
That's horrible.
Well, thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
All right, and on that note,
Thanks, everyone. I have a small penis. Good night.